All right, everyone. How are we doing this Thursday? It is really cold here.
Yeah.
I mean cold. Like we hit minus 57 in one of the counties in Nebraska today.
It's cold down here, but that's just too cold.
So I've just been hiding over here, sitting right next to my space heater, hoping for the best. My wife flies home from LA today, so she's gonna be like completely in shock when she lands.
Yeah, that's gonna be a
So, anyways, what we have here is we're in an interesting part of the year where you should have like architecture audits done. You should have gone through and re-upped your contracts with your clients, and you should have a good taste for what's going on. So you know their architecture, you know they're a Microsoft shop, you know they're using Dell, Cisco, Meraki, whatever they got in there. But the question is, now what? Like,
Yep.
How do you talk to your client about what's going on?
Okay, let me jump in here with something. I'm going to say so. Hopefully, I'm going to grab some of yours attention. All right, it's the first part of the year. You're talking about roadmap. You're planning things out. How many of the things that are on the roadmap for this year were also on the roadmap for last year? All right, and you're pushing these things forward again, and you're looking at it, and you're just going, man, we got to do something with this. All right. Everything we say today, is going to apply in positive ways. But if you have some of those projects on your roadmap, this is for you. All right. This is how we're going to help with those.
Yeah. Stuck projects largely is what we're talking about here. Maybe we should have titled this session Stuck Projects or How to Unstick Projects. Mm-hmm. Because the problem is you've got these things listed on your project roadmap that say, hey, we need to sell Cisco. We need to get them a new firewall.
Yeah.
But you haven't talked to them about why. Well, they need one because it's out of date. You know what? My truck has been out of warranty for 5 years. I don't care. It still pulls my camper. It still does the job. I can get it tuned up. People can work on it and it's fine, right? I'm sitting at 150,000 miles. And it's starting to feel a little rough when I drive it, but it's still okay.
Yep.
Now, what's going to make my decision here? Is it going to be that my car is old, that it's out of warranty, or is it going to be that a new truck will allow me to do something? So if I upgrade to a 3/4 ton from a 1/2 ton, that's going to solve some problems for me when I'm pulling in the mountains. If I upgrade to a diesel engine versus a gas, that's going to help me on long hauls. It's also going to make my oil changes a lot more expensive. But notice what I'm doing here. I'm not talking about the truck so much as I'm talking about the capacity of my truck to do things.
Yeah.
Change only happens when the pain of staying the same is more than the pain of change.
Right.
And so when you talk to your clients, you can't just say your device is old. They don't care. What they do care about is things are going to get uncomfortable.
Yep.
They want to know that, if you do this, you can now pull that 40-foot trailer you've had your eye on for the past 4 years. You can have that now.
Yep. Well, I've got a great firewall example, a very, very specific one. So this one's personal. All right. So I've got one of those Linksys firewalls sitting out here. All right. And it's great. I mean, for what I need, it does a great job. All right. But it's a bit old. And every once in a while, it just kind of quits making new connections. If you got something established, if you're going, it's fine. But if someone turns on
working every once in a while,
if someone turns on a new thing like a TV, right? We've got lots of those little Roku devices and it's been off for a little while and it comes back on, it gets an IP address, but it just doesn't pass. All right. Weird little things like this. And the fix is I go over there, I turn it off, I turn it back on. All good. Right. And it only happens every once in a while. So while, yes, that is a non-standard device in my category, and it is old, my pain point is get up and go turn it off. All right. And it never affects me because I'm always on, I'm always connected. Right. So it's just not that big of an inconvenience. So if someone sat down and say, hey, Skip, you got this really old firewall, you got to get this thing replaced. I'm like, yeah, it's not so bad. But here's the deal, right? My mother-in-law lives with me, right? And I'm really very fortunate that. I mean, that would, I know, scare a lot of people, but I really love my mother-in-law. She's great. And those devices, like those Roku devices, that's what's in her little apartment. So now I have this friction point that it's not just my firewall is old and needs to be replaced. I've got a user, right, who's constantly having issues getting on. And to fix those, I have to break away from what I'm doing to go do something else. So now it's impacting my workflow. All right. It's impacting, all right, in loose terms here, my reputation. All right. As a business owner, all right, if your reputation is, oh yeah, you go in there and half the time your credit card won't work because, you know, their network is lousy, or your employees are going, yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to send this file to you. You know, our network's flaky, right? That's a reputation sort of issue. And that's what you need to zero in on. You need to find the pain point. So in my case, I've got a motivation to get this firewall fixed because my reputation is at risk. So it's a little bit more specific, you know, but still kind of random example there of how you identify why a device needs to be replaced. The underlying cause is that thing is old. It's been on for years now, right? And it's just one of those things that does need to be replaced. There's also security issues, all these other things we could go into, but it doesn't really matter. The thing that is moving me off the needle here to get to the one side or the other is reputation. And that is many times with your businesses a very valid reason. And so when we get that on the roadmap, we're going to talk about increasing, in this example, improving the reputation. Make it so that customers, you know, yes, every time I come in, my credit card is going to swipe. Or remove that instance where your employees go, yep, I just sent that file. You should have it any second now. So they can say that with 100% confidence that's actually going to happen. And when you start talking about those benefits to your clients, then the technical details about, you know, make, model, performance, and even price really, really fall down on the priority list because you're providing the value that they need.
Yeah, and we talk about selling value all the time, and the part of this particular project roadmap series is that you need to take, and for lack of a better term, you need to abstract things so that your client is no longer seeing hardware, software. Like when I look at my truck, I understand that there are parts to it. I used to work on my trucks a lot, and then as I got more complicated, it just became something that I wasn't interested in doing anymore. I still do minor things like changing out headlights and simple things, but when it comes to actually maintaining my truck, I go to a mechanic. And even today, like I go to specialists, right? I depending on what needs to be done to my truck, I'll go into different shops. I no longer think of my truck in terms of its parts so much as what needs to be done. And your clients are the same way. You need to be talking to them using that language of what needs to be done. Now, in your operational view as an engineer, you see things in terms of parts. The firewall needs to be replaced. Shadow rules need to be transferred or mitigated. All this stuff needs to be done. However, you need to translate that into business talk and to what the client needs to get done. Hey, I need to be able to make these files transfer. I need to be able to behave with confidence. I need to be able to what? And the technology doesn't matter. I don't care if they swap out my transmission in my truck. If they say, hey, to get rid of that shimmy and to be able to pull a little bit more, I need to upgrade your truck. It's going to cost about $3,000. Here's the itemized list of things that need to be done. But once I get this done, you're going to pull a lot smoother. That wiggle in your transmission or that chunking you're feeling is going to go away. And you're going to be able to pull 3,000 more pounds. You know, those things that they're telling me, I don't know exactly all the parts. And you already do a lot of this. You say, I need to replace your firewall. You don't explain in detail that the type of wires you have to use. You don't talk about fiber channel versus copper, Cat5, Cat6. You don't talk about any of that stuff. You don't talk about IPv6 rules versus IPv4 rules. You just say the firewall needs to be transferred.
Yeah.
You already know intrinsically that your client doesn't care about certain things. Just take it up one more notch. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you're going to notice that these projects suddenly get unstuck. Like clients like, oh, this will allow me to. Yes, it will. I will no longer have to do this anymore. Correct.
Yeah.
All these things are going to happen because I made things easier for you. People love for things to be easy. People want things to be simple. Even if they're really complex, you can change how you're doing things and change buy-in by just making it simple.
And I imagine there's a few out there that you're hearing this and you're going, oh yeah, okay. One more thing, right? You're adding this to your list. Like, okay, yes, I know I need to go down this road, but let me, let's do a little, rearward facing crystal balling, right? What if this problem had been addressed last year like it should have? How many tickets have you had to work? How much downtime have they had? How much has it impacted your operational efficiency because you're dealing with all these issues that you shouldn't have to be dealing with? So if you're looking at this as, oh, now yet another thing my team has to do, and that's all that you're seeing, you're really missing out on, yes, I'm going to do this one thing, but now it's going to allow us more space. We're going to have more time with this client because we won't have to deal with all these things. And with those additional things, we've talked often about the value in those. It's not that you're selling value on tiny margins. All right. This is one more thing that can make you more money at higher margin and improve your operational efficiency on your ops side. So overall, it is very much a net win. Don't look at it as yet one more thing you have to add to your long list. See all the things you're removing off the list.
Yeah. And you want to get these projects done, right? We're looking at this roadmap. I look at my roadmaps on my demo accounts even, and they're huge and they're long and they're unwieldy. But if that's just my demo account, I'm not talking to my customers about these. They're just building as I make more and more recommendations. The reason I bring this up is the fact that your roadmaps are doing the same thing and you are talking to your customers. So why aren't they moving through? Why aren't these projects coming off your list? Why aren't they moving from proposed to complete? They aren't moving that direction because the client doesn't see value in your services. And so what they're doing is they're saying, oh, that's a great idea. I've got other things I need to do. I've got priorities that are more important that are making money. So when I look at my dev queue, for instance, I look at all the things that we could be doing with Humanize IT, and I look at the ones that are going to have the biggest impact financially, usually.
Yeah.
And or if one's causing a lot of problems, like a lot of hiccups, a lot of issues, we'll prioritize that. So that is the way I look at it. Why am I not buying all of them? Well, there's only so much money in a pot, man. So clients are the same way. There's only so much money in this pot, and they're going to prioritize, especially small and medium businesses. They're going to prioritize the items that are going to net them cash or save them cash. And if you're not speaking that language, then you're just another cog in the machine. You're just sitting in the background and you're not going to get priority. Even though that new widget that you want to sell them is going to make them more money, you don't understand how it's going to make them money, and they don't understand how it's going to make them money, and therefore it's going to get put on the back burner.
Right.
Just like in my truck, like there are things that I need to fix in my truck. The back of one of my seats kind of fell off. Two of the brackets broke. Doesn't cause me any problems. I never even see it. It needs to be done. It'll probably cost me like $300 to fix because it's GMC, and I just don't worry about it. Someday I will worry about it. It's just not going to be a high priority. I would rather spend that $300 on something else. And that's how your clients are behaving. So when you have these project roadmaps and you're looking at all these assets that you discovered, all these problems you discovered, you need to think, what does this look like to my client? Why should they care? How am I helping them? And the only way to learn about that is to do things we've talked about already in our events calendar this year. You need to look at them in terms of, I am a partner and I'm trying to help them make money.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's going to completely change around your audit recommendations, especially the ones when it comes to assets and licensing. You want to find them opportunities. You want to find them things, and you have to listen to them tell their story so you can fit those opportunities into the right spots.
Yep. And tracking this is really important as well. We've heard many examples from our members where they have struggled to get these projects across the line, and something builds up. There's usually a lot of variables in play there, but at some point they're able to have the type of conversation that shows with some, metrics or some time, some snapshots, some progress that you've been saying, look, we're not making any progress. Your IT environment is not getting any better. Yep. We're not able to help your business grow. You're still battling these problems because you won't sign off on these projects. And many times those conversations switch when they begin having those conversations with the right role within the client's organization. And when you're talking to kind of mid-level managers, lots of times they're just zeroed in on price, but the problems kind of fester for a while. And then we get a big conversation. Now the big wigs are involved, right? We got the executives in, they want to know what's going on, right? Why are things still not working? And they see this list and they're like, those are our business problems. Those are the things we need to get fixed. And the best story I have on this one, it goes back a few years. You'll know because there's a paper check. But anyway, one of our members sat down, had very much one of those. They'd had a ransomware event. It was, they walked in that meeting expecting a very, very uncomfortable conversation. And it kind of started that way. But when they started showing that, look, we've been making these recommendations and here's the reason why, here's what they, mitigate. Here's how we'll help you out. And the mid-level manager had been, denying all those solely based on price. And the executive was able to see that and see how much it would help their business, irregardless of price. He's looking at the business. And that MSP walked away from that meeting with a paper check. So that dates it just a little bit, but a paper check for $24,000, which was 50% of all the work on there. No quotes, right? The quotes had aged out and they were just like, look, we just need to do this. And they took that as an estimate and say, here's the money, go get started. We want to make our business better. And that's the focus. That's what you've got to strive for in getting those conversations so that your clients understand you're making their business better, not just selling them hardware.
Yeah. And you just got to focus on it just for a little bit. You don't have to do a lot of work.
No.
Most of this transition is just listening.
Yep.
Just listening to the customer. What are they saying? What are they actually wanting? What do they actually want to do to move forward? How is their journey being affected by the state of the world? How can you help them with that? Maybe they're trying to move into an overseas market. Maybe they're trying to move out of the town into some of the smaller markets that are around them. Listen to what they're saying and find technology solutions that are on your roadmap that will help them move forward. And one of my illustrations I like to bring up is, what if somebody came to you as a private citizen and said, hey, for $100,000, you can make $1 million. They show you the actual, like, this is not a money marketing. This is not a scheme. It's like, hey, we're buying into some shares. They're about to go public. We know there's going to be a 10x return on this. Would you like to do it? Would you like to be invested in? You would go in and you would find every dollar you could to invest in that thing because it was going to make you money. There's a high probability that this solid thing, for a fact that Apple is going to do a major launch of their iPhone that's going to change things in September, right? You as a tech person know this. I don't know what Apple's plans are. They haven't done anything innovative in like 10 years. Anyways, side rant. I'm an Apple user. Don't hate me. Anyways, the thing is, there's going to be a big technology launch. There's going to be something really cool happening.
Insider trading.
It's like insider. You just know your industry, right? They say like a good investor knows four stocks really well, and they just kind of trade them. You know this big event's going to happen. You know Apple's 100% behind it. You know that they're a privately held company or a publicly traded company. So you can go in there and you can invest in a bunch of shares, and you're going to make money. You're going to invest as much money as you can because you understand the problem. You understand the solution. You understand how it's going to benefit everyone going forward, and especially you. So you're going to stretch yourself to invest as much as possible. Now, that is how your clients think. That's how you as a business owner think. If you knew that if you could buy for calling out our podcast this week, if you could buy a LiDAR system that your MSP could maintain, that would help all of your engineering firm customers, and you knew that you had 10 customers, they're willing to pay you a rental fee of $20,000 a year for that item, you would 100% buy one of those. You would pull the loan from the bank. You don't care what the percentage is. I'll take a 30% loan, interest loan. I will buy this LiDAR device for $100,000, and I'm going to lease it out to 5 companies for $20,000 a year. Lifespan on this asset is 5 years. Everybody's happy. And you just made a pile of money. This is how your clients think. What technology do you have that you're proposing to them that's going to make them money? That's it. You have already audited them. You know what they have. Now you just have to listen to their business knowledge, business strategy, and say, oh, you're trying to do that? Dude, we need to invest in some 5G infrastructure for you. Or, dude, we need to get you into Office 365 has this new feature we can do, and it's going to help you get those contracts out to your clients much faster. All these things can happen, but you need to listen and then look at your project roadmap that you've just developed after your audit and say, this is what's going to make my client money. I am excited to show them how. And now you see these projects that have been on the table for 3-4 years suddenly start popping off really fast because your clients know how they're going to make money.
Well, and to wrap this up, expenses, every business is always looking for ways to reduce their expenses, right? We may go through little cycles where we're not looking at it as closely, but every business is always keeping an eye out for, hey, can I spend a little less? Right? But how many times do you get involved with a business that they're like, I really just don't want to invest in my company anymore, right? Nobody wants to reduce investments. They may be cash constrained, so there may be limits, but their desire is always to increase investments and decrease expenses. So your services to your customers, are they expenses or are they investments? That's going to put you on one side of the battle or another, to fight for what you have or to promote what you have. And you've got to get it out there in the right perspective.
Yeah, it looks like Richard Bauer says he lost the feed, but I still see it. I think he's just in a crappy internet area. But yeah, this is a broken record for us. We talk about this all the time, people. Just listen to your customers. Show them the money. Let them see how you're going to make them money and change the way you do business. The really cool thing is that this requires less work than it would have otherwise.
Yes, very much.
This requires less work than a PowerPoint presentation. This requires less work than road mapping everything out from scratch. Yep. All right, everyone. This has been great. Next week, we actually have our hey, why are QBRs dead session. So I'm actually pulling up our events calendar here. So we're coming up on this idea that QBRs are dead. Now, I'm sorry, not next week, but in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We have no meeting next week because I will be in New York speaking at an amazing conference with Start, Grow, Manage. Highly recommend you all reach out to it. Yeah. It's been It's been fun. I'm wishing I was going somewhere warmer, but New York will do.
There we go.
So everyone, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about why QBRs are dead, why the traditional QBR for MSPs is dead, what you can do about this, and how you can reach out to your customers. We'll see you all in March.